everybody. Good afternoon once again, and welcome to our channel, Physics Calculation Center. Today, as I told you in our last video, we'll be putting the knowledge of friction into calculations. So today, I have two questions here. One of them is a jam mass question, and this is a present question. So these two questions we'll be solving today. And I believe by the time we finish it, you would have had serious and good knowledge of friction. Okay, let's go. Example 1. A wooden block of mass 1.6 kilogram rests on a rough horizontal surface. If the limiting frictional force between the block and the surface is 8 Newton, calculate the coefficient of friction. A wooden block of mass 1.6 kilogram rests on a rough horizontal surface. If the limiting frictional force between the block and the surface is 8 Newton, calculate the coefficient of friction. Beautiful. So the first thing you do is for you to try and get the rough block so that it gives a better understanding. Okay? When you get the rough block, so that you can now do F, which is the limiting frictional force, is 8 Newton. Okay? Beautiful. Okay. Now, there is weight and there is reaction. Don't forget that. And there is reaction. Okay. The mass of the wooden block is 1.6. Okay, beautiful. So having done that, we can now start. So the frictional force, as I said, F is 8 Newton. Okay, is 8 Newton. And the normal, which is R, this is the normal, which is R, which is the same thing as R, equals mg, which is the weight, equals mg, mass times gravity. And the mass is what? The mass is 1.6. So this is 1.6 times 10. So which gives this to be 16. It gives you 16 Newton. Okay, beautiful. So I haven't gotten that. Now the question says to calculate the coefficient of friction. And we know coefficient of friction is equals to the frictional force over the reactional. Okay. And the frictional force is 8 Newton. And the reactional force is 16. 8 here is 1. 8 here is 2. 1 over 2 gives 0.5. Mind you, it doesn't have a unit. This does not have a unit. Number 2, quickly. Number 2. It says if an object begins to slide on a surface inclined at, so this is number 2. Okay, inclined at 30 degrees to the horizontal. The coefficient of friction is what? Okay, so the inclined plane is the tangent of the angle. Okay, note coefficient of friction. Now I said note the coefficient of friction, notes the coefficient of friction, the coefficient of friction for an inclined plane, for an inclined plane is the tangent of the angle, is the tangent of the angle of the plane, is the tangent of the angle of the plane. Okay, is the tangent of the angle of the plane when an object begins to slide. When an object begins to slide. This is just for your better, for you to have better understanding of what we are talking about. It's just for you to have better understanding. Okay, since I said it is tangent, so the coefficient of friction will now be equals to tan, because I said tan, so that's tan 30. Okay, you know, in that question it was given that inclined at 30 degrees, so that's tan 30, which is, and we know tan 30 is 1 over root 3. 1 over root 3, okay. Tan 30 is 1 over root 3. Okay. Is that okay? So the answer to this now is just 1 over root 3. Quite easily done. So from here you can see, let me repeat this one again. The question says if an object begins to slide on a surface inclined at 30 degrees to the horizontal, the coefficient of friction, once it is inclined at 30 degrees, once it is inclined plane, is the tangent of the angle of the plane. So just put tan 30, tan the angle, and tan 30 will give you 1 over 3, and that solves it. So I want to believe you understand this. In our next video, we'll do more examples. Till then, I'll see you then. Bye.